What's going on, y'all? My name is Grayson Russell.
Hey, it's Presley Tunnett here.
Hey everybody, Robbie Johnson here.
This is Darian Lee.
Hey y'all, this is Billy Joe Jones.
My name is Rye Rivers.
Hi, I'm Chloe Styler, and you are listening to The Jay Franzi Show.
Be sure to enjoy it.
Thank y'all.
Welcome to The Jay Franzi Show, a behind-the-curtain look at the entertainment industry with insights you can't pay for and stories you've never heard. Now, here's your host, Jay Franzi.
And we are coming at you live. I am Jay Franzi, and with me tonight, the Loretta to my Conway, Miss Tiffany Mason. Miss Tiffany, how are you?
Fantastic. Excited to talk to our guest.
You and me both, my friend. And if you are new to the show, this is your source for the latest news, reviews, and interviews. So if you'd like to join in, comment, or fire off any questions, please head over to jfranzi.com. All right, Miss Tiffany, you said it. We have a guest. We have a very special guest. We have a singer, a songwriter, and a recording artist hailing from the great state of Washington. We have Miss Dani Bacon. Miss Dani, how are you?
Hello. I'm good. Very good. Thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure, my friend. It is our pleasure. Let's just jump right in. What's the music scene like in Washington?
Well, I am pretty far from any major city. I think a lot of people, if they know of any music in Washington, it's Seattle, and I'm like 8 hours from Seattle. So anywhere I go, anywhere I go, I'm traveling over a pass, which is good. It's beautiful here, but traveling pretty far for anything. We do have a couple really incredible venues in our little small town here. So I love to play at those and then some little festivals. But other than that, I'm traveling pretty far.
Is that the area of the country you're from?
I was born in Wyoming, and then I've lived here for most of my life.
All right. Have you lived in that outskirts area for the majority of your life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very rural area for most of my life.
That's pretty cool. I would love to do that. Miss Tiffany, would you like to live out in the middle of nowhere?
I think it's like our conversation that we had, like when my redneck's trying to come out. Like sometimes I feel like I want that earthy lifestyle, and other times I just like everything being really convenient. But I do need to ask Dani, I'm not familiar with this, a pass. Is this like normal speak for the Washington folk? If you're going a long distance, you're going over a pass?
No, I guess I didn't think much about that when I said it. So we go over like a mountain pass. Anywhere we go, it's over a major mountain pass.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay. I would do that just for the scenery. I would live in the rural area just for the scenery. We lived in upstate for a short amount of time, and the mountains, you can't beat it.
I would love to live in a cabin on a lake.
In a country house?
Cabin.
An actual cabin, though, because there's people who live here on the lake and they call it their cabin, but it's more like a mansion cabin.
No, I want logs.
Logs.
I want something that I'm not afraid to dent. Like my house now, I've got 3 kids. I'm afraid every time they touch anything. Don't scuff the wall. Don't, ride the bike in the house, or don't do this or that. So no, I want a cabin. I want to drive a truck, something that I'm not afraid to ding up. I want that life. But unfortunately,
I have 2 boys. So I hear you.
How old are they?
My oldest just turned 12, and then my youngest is going to be 10.
All right, I have a 10-year-old. It's a girl, but I have a 10-year-old. You want her?
Yeah. I mean, I'm barely surviving the boys. So I don't know.
You're getting ready for some rough years there, Dani.
I hope it doesn't get any more rough than it's already been.
And some stinky years.
Yeah.
She's out in the middle of nowhere. How bad could it be?
Yeah, I send them outside. If they're going to build something or destroy something, just send them.
They play in the creek. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Who are some of your biggest influences?
Right now, Oh man, this is
What
always such a
about
hard
what about if we
question.
go back a little bit? What were your musical influences as a kid, or how did you get started?
So I was raised pretty religious, and so we sang together as a family in church. So there was that. My dad and mom wrote songs when they were together, and then we listened to a lot of country off and on of what we were allowed to listen to. I remember I was probably like 9. My mom brought home a Dixie Chicks album, and I just remember listening to it and loving it. And I asked my parents if I could sing one of the songs, and I'm pretty sure it was like a divorce song. I can't remember the title of it. And they're like, "You do not get to sing that song." So that's like probably my earliest memory of like a country artist that I really loved a lot. And then whatever my dad was listening to on the radio. But now my favorites are pretty vast. I love Brent Cobb. He's an incredible writer. Chris Stapleton, but I think everybody loves Chris Stapleton. Meg McCree, she's really great writer. Yeah, I don't know. I think that list could probably go on forever.
Can you tell us how you think your music fits into the multiple genres?
Mm. I feel like genres are kind of a complicated thing right now because everybody wants to put a title on something, but there's so many things that vary or kind of are outliers. I don't even know if mine sounds like traditional country, but I don't think it sounds like the mainstream country right now either.
Agreed.
But I guess my songs are about real life, and that's what makes it similar, if you could even say that, to the country genre world. When people ask me what genre, I usually say country or Americana because I don't really know where it sets. But yeah, something like that, I guess.
That's what I'm wondering. If you're in Washington State and you're off the beaten path, do you think that influences your style of music?
I think so for sure. Especially the writers that write about not just the beer and trucks, you know? Of course, there's that no matter where you go. But the people that are writing about, I don't know, heartbreak or a love song or family or the outdoors or anything like that. I think that my music is very connected to all of that.
When I think of Washington State, I don't typically think of country music, but I would think of Americana music. So I think taking pieces from all of the different genres and coming up with something a little bit more unique than what we would typically hear on country radio.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Well, I think that's what makes it interesting to listen to, right? Is because you almost can't put your finger on it. Because I was too trying to be like, okay, bluegrass, country, I don't know. Like I was having a hard time too. So that makes me feel good that even you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's a compilation of a couple of different genres. And good on you that you're like, I don't know if I want to put a title on it.
Yeah.
It's Danny's style.
Yeah. Well, and when I went to the studio, I worked with Kyler at Den Studios. When I first started working with him, he had only worked on one country album. And so I think there's some of that as well, coming from a producer who works in a lot of genres, not just country.
So what kind of music was he producing?
So the one that I know best is he worked with Colby Acuff. He's out of Idaho. And his biggest song, I believe his biggest song right now, is called If I Were the Devil. I actually met Kyler at one of Colby's concerts there. Other than that album, I think that he works in a lot of pop, or I think he had more of like a pop, what would you even call it? Pop punk kind of. Maybe some rock in there as well that he works on as well.
So where's he located? Where's the studio?
So that's in Boise, Idaho.
Okay, so you traveled to do your recording then?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
All right, what's the studio like?
Well, it's like in a garage that he's remodeled, which is really cool. It's got multiple rooms for your vocals and then the actual studio area, and then he has the drums in another area. So it's tiny, but it was so much fun. It was definitely a good introduction, I think, for never doing anything like that before. Stepping into a studio is very laid back. Lots of pictures online that he's showed. And when I first was looking into recording, I didn't know where to go. You can Google studios to record in, but the one that stuck out for me was not that I had just met Kyler, but when I looked up his website, he had a whole playlist of music that he had produced. And so I was actually able to hear the work that he's put out in the world. And I think that's what really sold me on it.
All right. Does he play instruments? Is he a hands-on producer?
Yeah, he probably played almost every single instrument on my songs that are in there. I play a little bit of guitar, but he plays like everything else. And if he doesn't know how to play it, he learns how to play it and can play it incredibly well.
Does that include drums?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He learned how to play the lap steel to be in
course.
Colby Acuff's. Yeah. Who just learns how to do that? Yeah. No, it's pretty cool.
I'm doing that this weekend. So hit me up
just
next
gonna pick
week.
it
I
up?
got you. Yeah.
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 So are you writing songs and then sending them to him in advance?
Yeah, so I will pick like 3 to 5 songs, depending on how many we want to tackle. And I'll send him his way, and we kind of go over what we want him to sound like. But yeah, we'll kind of go over what we want him to sound like, if we want specific instruments or harmonies, and kind of go from there.
All right. So when you send the songs to him, are you sending like just lyrics? Are you playing guitar and singing a little bit of a melody? I mean, what's your process like before it makes it to him?
So I usually just do like a really rough cut audio off of my phone, then send it his way. So it's very raw. There's not really anything to it other than just a little bit of rhythm guitar and my vocals. And then if we need to go over lyrics, I send those as well.
Does he then build the track before you get there?
Nope. So I kind of give him my idea of what we're going to be working with. And that's usually about a week or so. He listens to them. And then when we get in there, we just start building them, putting them together.
So you participate in the building process then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know if most studios are like that.
This is what we would call a production studio. So you're working with a producer who's going to go ahead and lay down the instruments and help you produce a record. Where most studios in Nashville say when you're recording country music, you get a producer who assembles a team of musicians and hires an engineer and rents a studio. And then when you go in, all of the musicians perform at one time and your song is done in 3.5 minutes. So it's a very impressive process, but it's a very different process. It's not quite as personal as something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Which do you prefer to produce, Jay?
I like the idea of doing a blend. I like to go into the studio and record all of the A-list players. And then I like taking those recordings back to my personal studio and then having the singer come in and sing in my studio when it's a more comfortable environment and they're not being rushed. So it's kind of like a little bit of a hybrid approach.
Got it. Dani, how many times have you done this? So I don't know if you can tell, but I am not from the production world. So curious, how many times have you done it? Are you building a record? Is this just EP? What does it mean?
Well, so the first time I went in, I believe I had 5 songs. And then I went in a second time and recorded 6 songs. And this isn't how people usually do it by any means, but I felt kind of rushed because I wanted music out in the world. I was kind of done waiting. And so I released part 1, and now I'm slowly releasing the singles for part 2. And by this fall, everything will be released as part 1 and 2, as in one album.
Got it.
In today's world of releasing singles on streaming services, it really doesn't matter as much as it used to. Because the process you're describing is if you went ahead and recorded, say, half of your album, and then you release it as an EP, And then you go back and assemble the full album later on down the road. So today you don't have to do that. So let's take it to your vocals. What was that process like? Can you walk us through the environment?
Yeah, so it's a separate room. There's 3 rooms sectioned off, but there's these giant windows, and so you're able to see the producer, which I believe is similar, to other studios.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can kind of communicate through the window and then also through the headphones. And it was a lot of fun. A learning experience, which I think that's just life for sure. You got to start somewhere, right? And then how you were mentioning earlier, how most studios work. Next year, I'll be going to Austin, Texas, and working with Jason Eady in a studio that will be much more like what you were explaining, where we bring in all of the musicians and it won't just be one person playing everything.
It's just a personal preference. When I had my studio in New York, it was more like what he has here. I mean, it was a small production studio, it had multiple rooms, and it was a nice facility, but it was small. So it's just a matter of whichever you prefer. So when you were in the studio with him singing and you're in your ISO booth, was there anything specific you did to that ISO booth to make it more comfortable for you?
Depending on the song, some I stood while singing, others I would sit down, depending on, I guess, how relaxed I wanted to sound or how personal or deep the song was. But other than that, I don't know if I personalized it more than that.
Did you keep the lights on or off?
Oh, I guess on. I didn't even think about turning them off. I don't like the dark, so I probably wouldn't turn the lights off.
A lot of singers, especially when it's their first time in a studio, will keep the lights off because they feel like people are going to stare at them and they get a little self-conscious when they're singing.
Oh.
So it's usually seasoned pros who keep the lights on.
Interesting.
The fact that you did that out of the gate, say that, you're one step ahead of everybody.
Well, I think when you don't know what you're doing, and you're just kind of jumping into it, I guess I just went into it how I thought it would be comfortable. And maybe that makes me look like a pro or not. It could go either way, I guess.
Well, it's just a matter of whatever makes you comfortable, because if you're comfortable, then you're going to be able to sing the best you can sing. But the type of things I'm thinking of when I think of the atmosphere is like you're in an ISO booth, which is typically pretty small. It can be anywhere from the size of a small closet up to a spare bedroom. So, when you're in an ISO booth, depending on the studio you're in. So I'm assuming if this is especially built out of his garage, that it's a small closet. You're usually in there with a dampened room. But my thoughts are are the lights off? Did you have maybe a blanket hanging? Did you have a candle? Was there anything that you did to make that room personal?
Did you set the mood for yourself,
Did you set
Dani?
the mood? That's what we want to know.
I didn't.
Or were you just so excited to get started? You're like, let's do this.
Yeah, pretty much that. I think it has a really incredible feel to it already. Very homey. Like there's a couch in there and there's stuff hanging on the walls, and it's actually a larger room, but the sound that comes out of it is very incredible.
So it does have a vibe to it.
It does. Yeah. So
he set the mood for you.
Yeah. I think I was just already as comfortable as I could be going in there and recording. So it was a really incredible first experience. Well, we were talking about musicians, though. The second time I went in, I brought in Chelsea Parker.
Which Parker.
I believe you've worked with her before.
Yes, ma'am. She was on the show.
And I found her through social media. That's one thing, living where I do live in the middle of nowhere. Social media has been a really incredible tool for me because she was playing on another musician's song, and she's obviously just so talented. And I commented on there. I was like, who is this fiddle player? And someone tagged her. And so I shot her a message, and you never know. Like, you can reach out to tons of people. It doesn't mean they're going to answer you. You get a lot of either no or just no response. And she emailed me back and was willing to jump on a plane and come to Boise and work with people that she didn't know. And it was so fun. I don't know if I've ever met somebody that was just like immediately, I was like, oh, I could be friends with her. She's so cool. She's so
awesome.
sweet. She's so talented.
Miss Tiffany, she is one of the people who actually came here in this room to do their interview. So
cool.
she has no problem traveling
So
to
this
do the
girl's
right
just
things.
right. She's just looking for opportunities to travel.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, she lived about 10 minutes down the road. So
Okay.
now she has moved since then. She now lives about 20 minutes down the road, but hey. She is one of the most amazing musicians I've ever seen. She is super, super talented. And her brother's talented. And her dad's talented. Her brother plays drums. Her dad plays steel. Too much talent in one family. Stop it.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. So first of all, Jay, I want to ask you about the larger recording studios or the larger recording rooms shutting down. Is that because technology can duplicate what those large rooms used to do for the sound? Why do you think that is changing?
Well, I think there's a few things. I don't think they're all shutting down, but I do think a lot of them are. And part of the reason for that is that they're expensive. They are super expensive. This is Ocean Way in Nashville. It was built out of a church right there on Music Row. Now, what's happened on Music Row is that people have come in and they're buying property and they're building condos and apartment complexes. So all of the big studios have the choice now to either sell out to these companies or try to stick it out. This one's not going to leave. This studio will always be there because it's a church. No one's going to tear down this beautiful church. But there's others, like there was one called the Tracking Room, which was right down the road from here, right off of Demumbrian. And that studio was massive in size, but it was super expensive. And they just couldn't keep it open. And then a lot of them have now moved over to Berry Hill, which is what we call maybe the new Music Row in Nashville. Like John McBride, Martina McBride's husband. That's where his Blackbird studio is, and there's a few others. But in LA, there's still a handful of these studios left. But to your point, yes, you can do a lot in a home studio these days. And what makes that worth doing is the fact, like what Dani was able to do, is go and have an intimate recording and work with somebody who is focused on her. And Dani, how long did you spend in the studio that first trip to do those first 5 songs?
I think it was 3 days, maybe.
So you had 3 days of undivided attention, where if you were in Nashville to do 5 songs, you would have done that in probably 3 hours. And then you would have been shuffled out quickly for the next Dani to come in right after you and record their 3 to 5 songs. And then the next one would come in and record theirs. And then you'd have to come back on a different day to sing. You just wouldn't have that same personal touch. So it really is just preference. Do you want that personal touch, or do you want to be part of the big machine?
Well, that leads beautifully into my next question.
I did that
which
on purpose.
was, why did you decide to go from the smaller studio with Kyler and then this other kind of concept, I suppose, if you will, in Austin, Texas?
Well, I'm going to continue to work with Kyler. I think I'm going back there sometime this winter. And we'll probably always do music, I hope. Hopefully, if Kyler watches this, he'll hear that too. But I also just want to continue to keep moving forward with more connections.
Sure.
Jason Eady, who I'll be working with in Texas, he is very well connected and he's very talented, very great songwriter. And so moving forward, the more connections and friendships I can build, I'm just going to keep doing that. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm just learning as I go too. And so I would like to experience all of it and just keep learning and just keep moving forward, I guess, with all of it.
Seem like good choices. Now, does your family go with you?
Well, it ended up being perfect the first time I went to Boise because I had a sister who was in the Air Force there. And so we stayed with her. I took the whole family. We all got in the truck and headed that way. And then I have my brother-in-law that also lived there. So yeah, we just all went. And Travis, that's my husband, he hung out with the kids while I went and hung out in the studio for days on end.
Now, are you going to expose them to Austin, Texas?
I don't know. We'll see. If they want to go, right now the boys are pretty convinced that mom is not very cool. And what she does is not very cool. And
Oh my goodness.
We'll see if they want to go or not.
Well, hey, if they're not going to be fans, I wouldn't bring them.
Yeah. If you're not there in my corner cheering me on, no.
Right.
But Travis does. He likes to go. He's pretty quiet compared to me.
I have one of those.
Yeah, goes and listens, goes to my shows as many as he can. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm the only one that plays or sings or writes music, though. So it is very different than what everyone else in our household likes to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. My family has no desire to be part of any of the stuff I do. I mean, I tell Tiffany all the time, I get tickets to shows, I get to go to studios, I get to do all this stuff. And I asked my daughter if you want to go. She's like, no, I don't.
I asked Jay if I could be one of his kids. I mean, I want to go.
Yeah, I'll go.
Cyndi Lauper tomorrow night. Thank you, Rocky Rose.
Ooh. Fun.
So you mentioned your family being in Boise. Did that play part in your decision to choose that location?
No, it didn't actually. I would have gone either way. I would have jumped on a plane and I would have gone either way.
So what was it that made you choose him in that studio?
I think first off that I met him in person, and also that I heard a lot of the stuff that he had already worked on. He was affordable and the studio looked incredible, and for whatever reason it felt right, I guess. Yeah, you can probably go to any studio, right? If you pay them, they'll let you record there.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if it's my personality or where I'm from, but personal connection, I think, is really important to me. And I think for that reason, and I guess a couple others, it just seemed right. And it turned out good. So I prayed on the way there, though, because I was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. It could go really bad or it could go really good.
Oh, positive all the time.
Yeah.
No, you're 100% right. The connection is really what matters the most. If you don't have that connection, the recording will not work out well. And I have an example that when I was in a studio in Nashville with one of the best producers in Nashville, and we were recording this young singer-songwriter, a young woman, and that producer made this girl cry after every session to the point where she decided to leave, and we went and recorded the record somewhere else. And she was as happy as can be. And that record went to #1 on the charts when she recorded the happy version. So you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I do believe it's all about being comfortable.
Well, thinking about that studio and having the aesthetics be so nice, I'm thinking like maybe part of your decision is like great social media pictures, which then made me think, I wonder, has somebody reached out to you saying, who's your fiddle player or what studio are you in or whatever, like you did finding your fiddle player. Has that happened to you in reverse where someone's reached out to you inquiring some of those things?
Oh, no, not yet. Hopefully that happens too. I'll sing backup vocals. I'll do the things.
Well, let me ask you on that note, are you good at harmony singing?
I think I'm good at
The answer
it.
is yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, the reason I say that kind of in a I'm not sure way, I guess, is it's something that I'm new to, but I have been working on this year, because before I started putting myself and my music out there more, I was just playing music by myself and singing by myself.
Because you're out in the middle of nowhere. And
Yeah.
your family doesn't partake in the music scene, so who are you going to sing with, Dani?
Yeah. And then usually if I'm singing, I do have some musicians here locally that I play music with, and they're very talented, but then I'm the lead singer, and then my friend Alicia is the backup vocals and the harmonies. And then I have another friend, his name's Clarence Gallagher, and he's actually playing with Matt Heckler right now. He's very talented. And so if we sing together, I sing harmonies for him.
We were talking about Chelsea. That's one thing that's impressive about her is not only can she play the fiddle and other instruments, but she can play the fiddle and sing at the same time. So she plays and sings harmony and does all of the things you would want her to do.
I love that your first connection was to Dixie Chicks album, and now fiddle playing is part of your music.
Yes, yeah. We were actually going to have Chelsea try to do some harmonies, and she ended up running out of time. Originally, we were going to have her play, I think, on like 3 songs, and then we ended up loving it all so much, she played on all 6. Yeah, and so we didn't have enough time for her to also sing any harmonies or backup vocals.
That's all right. The fiddle's probably the more important piece there.
Yeah, I think it really made the songs for sure.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Miss Tiffany, that's going to be another one you're going to have to go back and listen to now because she is amazing. And I never would have thought that you would have found her through the internet, reached out to her, and have her fly out to you like that. That's very, very cool.
Mm-hmm. I have made connections with a lot of people. That's how I try to connect with a lot of people. I don't know if everybody checks their DMs, but I'm in there. If you want to open her or anything else. Yeah.
There you go. For those listening, please check your DMs. Maybe you could be the lucky one. All right. I have a question for you. I know you're still fairly new to this career, but what kind of challenges have you faced along the way so far?
I think there's a lot of unknowns. And so I think a lot of the time I don't know if I'm making the right decisions. And then another thing that seems like a big hurdle is I do all my own booking right now. And that's very time consuming. And also, since I don't have a manager or anything like that, I'm having to find these people and reach out. Some people reach back and they communicate well and it works out great. But even those, they still take months, to get details of a show locked in. And so I think that is a challenge for sure. And the travel. And just right now, I'm not very connected yet, but I'm working on it.
Do you think your location plays a part in that?
I think some of it. I mean, I have friends that just moved to Nashville, the Carlisles. They're the Carlisle family band. And that's, why they moved. They have a house here.
A cabin?
Yeah.
Multi-million-dollar cabin.
But yeah. Just so that
Quote,
they can.
cabin.
Yeah. Just be able to go to more shows, make more connections, and more on a regular basis, rather than like I flew to Nashville in January and went to some shows and met some people, but it's definitely not, very frequent because I do live so far away.
Does it feel defeating that you're so far away from Nashville?
It can, if I look at it that way, but then I also know that I probably wouldn't fit in the box of Nashville anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that way, it doesn't feel defeating.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
I mean, I would love to be a part of the bigger scene for sure, but I know if I would have moved there really young, I think I probably would have been put in that box and then not been able to write the songs that I have been able to write and be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I think I try to look at it in more of a perspective of being grateful, because it would be very different if I had lived there for the last 10 years.
I think if you take a look at it this way, where you're off in, say, your own area, you're probably one of the only musicians like you said, in your family and probably in your friend group and out in that area where you're writing and coming up with a style of music that, although might be country or has an Americana feel to it, so you're coming up with your own little vibe and your own little piece of that puzzle. But I think what's helping you is these days social media gives you the reach. Like you were able to reach out to Chelsea Parker, and you can reach out to Kyler and anybody else that you want to work with, and you can probably get in touch with them. You can arrange session time. You can bring musicians in. So you still have access to all of the same people and all of the same things. You might not be able to do some of the networking that you could do in person if you were in Nashville, but you can do all of the stuff online. If we take that a step further, if you're building your career right now and social media is a major puzzle piece to that, what are you doing to grow your social media accounts?
That is okay. If we're talking about hurdles or struggles or challenges, that is social media for me. Just trying to make enough content or content that people would want to watch. I think social media is so incredible. Like you're saying, there's tons of opportunities for sure, and you can reach literally anyone if they read the message, and reply, obviously. But I haven't blown up on social media either, though. So it's kind of like a weird juggling act of staying true to who I am, and not trying to do everything that someone else is doing. So I'm just trying to post more this year, trying to make more content that's attached to my songs, whether it be videos or talking about my songs. So I'm learning in that area as well.
When it comes to staying on social media and being able to kind of be true to who you are and, live where you want to live, what have been the songs that have been the most fun to write? Or what songs do you feel like are so unique to you?
Mm. Out of the ones I've released so far, the ones that stand out, I guess, in that category would be Northern Pines, because I wrote that one about where I live and my family, but chasing dreams and then always coming back to the place and the people that I love. And I started writing that one after a conversation with my husband of wanting to pursue this more, and I was going on a little mini tour.
Mm.
And so I wrote that about this desire and this pull to want to chase my dreams, but knowing that I'm never going to leave everything that I love and that's so important behind. And then I have another song called Buffalo, and that's about wide open spaces and the desire to be free and in wide open spaces. And then I
Back to the
have
Dixie Chicks.
Yeah. Another one that's called Your Lady. I guess they're all maybe, now as I'm talking about all of them, they're all kind of attached to it. But I'm always willing, though, to jump on a plane. I love to travel. I love to go places. So even though this is my home base, I love to go to all the places.
When you go on
see all the
tour, you're going to
music.
be just fine with it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
All right, my friend. Well, we do this thing here we call Unsung Heroes, where we take a moment to shine the light on somebody who's worked behind the scenes or somebody who may have supported you along the way. Do you have anybody you would like to shine a little light on?
Ooh. Well, I think my parents probably are the start of all of it. They are incredibly talented themselves. Then I have a music teacher, Connie Fletcher, and she was kind of the start of encouraging me to play in school. And I think that was the start of all of it. And without those people, I definitely would not be here. And my husband, for sure. He's a giant support to me. And Monty Hildebrandt, who I wrote my first song about, which that's the last song I'll be releasing this fall. And he's no longer on this earth. But I don't know if I ever would have written a song if I wasn't in such a sad place after he passed, and I wrote that song about that feeling. So I think he was a really big piece too. Before he passed, he encouraged me to sing all the time. And so I think all just the beginning of all of it is those people.
When you hear that song now, how does it make you feel?
Probably sad would be the first word I could think of. I still have a really deep connection to it for sure. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people can relate to that because I think throughout our life, everyone's going to lose someone that they care a lot about. So probably just a lot of pain and sorrow, but faith that there's good that comes after hardship. That's actually what this first tattoo was. It was beauty from ashes is what it represented, and that's kind of where that came from too, similar to that song.
Do you find it hard to sing that song live?
Yes, I do. I think that there's a fine line when I'm playing a song live of trying to be in the emotion enough to portray the feelings, but not so much that you lose it, because that can happen too. And so I try to walk that line with ease.
I'm not going there tonight. I got too many things I could be saying right now, Miss Tiffany. I'm biting my tongue. As a matter of fact, folks, we have reached the top of the hour, which doesn't mean we have reached the end of the show. If you've enjoyed the show, please tell a friend. And Miss Tiffany, if you have not,
tell two.
All right. You can also reach out to all of us, all three of us, 1, 2, and 3, over at jfranzi.com, where we will be happy to keep this conversation going. Miss Tiffany, thank you for actually showing up tonight. I do appreciate you doing that. Ms. Dani, thank you for joining us. I would like to leave the final words to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Give me a follow, give me a listen, and hopefully we'll connect further along the road.
All right, folks. On that note, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to The Jay Franzi Show. Make sure you visit us at jfranzi.com. Follow, connect, and say hello. This episode has been brought to you by VR Knives, your source for 100% custom knives made by a true rock star. So, if you're in the market for a new piece of art, reach out to VR Knives. 407-421-5528. 407-421-5528.